The New Statesman has published their list of the 50 most influential people on the left. They've called it the Left Power List. And they put Rachel Reeves, who you can see in the middle there, on top of it. She comes in first, just one above Keir Starmer on the New Statesman cover. You can also see Gary Lineker, he's number 5. Mick Lynch is number 19. David Attenborough is at number 23. He's on the left there. And Zara Sultana is number 47. There are also 2 Novara faces on the list. Ash Sarkar comes in at 45. This is what they write about Ash. The 31-year-old activist, self-described communist and contributing editor at Novara Media is a regular BBC Question Time panellist with more than 400,000 Twitter followers. Her sharp-witted broadcast style, interspersed with theoretical analysis, makes her perhaps the closest person Britain has to a left-wing influencer. Sarkar resigned her Labour membership in 2021, but remains one of the left's most ubiquitous commentators. And Aaron Bastani is number 50. Novara Media, which Bastani co-founded in 2011, predated Corbyn's Labour leadership and has outlasted it. Rather than fading, as some predicted, the organisation has grown in prominence and now has 323,000 YouTube subscribers and a staff of 24. Bastani's ideologically heterodox approach means he enjoys increasing influence across the media. He's given a TED Talk and is a contributor to the post-liberal site Unheard. His first book, Fully Automated Luxury Communism, was published in 2019, and his next will assess the politics of aging. I'm, of course, incredibly proud of both of my colleagues. Not at all bitter. I'm not at all disappointed that my name didn't make it to the list. I'm sure it got lost on a post-it note somewhere if I was considered. Anyway, maybe next time. Not everyone has been as congratulatory as I have been. This was part of a discussion about the list on the New Statesman podcast.
Have you had any feedback or even backlash on this list? I was at a dinner yesterday with some Labour and progressive policy people, and the name that kept coming up was Alistair Campbell for different reasons. Yeah. Some absolutely love his podcast and are impressed with his post-political career. Others are sort of alarmed by the rehabilitation of his reputation as this sort of polite voice of reason. Yeah. What, have you had any feedback, Rachel, from your contacts?
There's been some pushback, I think, from people within Labour against people like Aaron Bastani, who they probably have taken a lot of criticism from. I think that I've been asked why there aren't more trade union leaders on the list, but I guess you'd expect that from Labour Party politicians.
Trade union leaders.
Indeed, and a lot of the trade unions are actually vying for influence within the Labour Party at the moment, so they want their name on there. They want to be known as having power and influence. So, yeah, along those lines, like I say.
We should say that Owen Jones tweeted the list, but said, how do I get myself off this list? Which I thought was a great response.
I think fundamentally what the New Statesman's done is they've put lots of people who are liberals and on the left, and they've sort of put it together. And they think that liberals are on the left. I think it probably doesn't help Justin Welby's case when he's saying, I'm not partisan, I'm not political. And then he's put on a list of the 50 most influential people on the British left. What really made me laugh though, Michael, because these things are just a bit of fun. It's a bit of clickbait. It's a bit of clickbait, and it drives traffic to the New Statesman site. Nobody takes it seriously. First and foremost, me or Ash. And then you have Labour MPs pushing back. This is code for through a hissy fit, right? Pushing back because you've included Aaron Bastani and Ash Sarkar. Look, you've won the political debate within the political debate. You don't know any politics. You've won the debate within the Labour Party. You've crushed the left. The Conservatives are falling apart. There are some polls out there giving you guys a 200 lead, a majority of 200. I mean, it probably won't happen, but still, the polls are out there. And you care about whether I'm on a list of people who are influential on the left in the New Statesman. And these people want to run a country of 65 million people, Michael. These are the people that be legislating around artificial intelligence or apparently addressing the housing crisis. I don't think so. If they're that trivial and small-minded and petty and pathetic, I don't think so somehow. So yeah, look, it's a bit of fun, it's a bit of a laugh, and the only people taking it seriously are the least serious people in British politics, the Labour right.
All right, while accepting it's a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh, we are going to look at the top 10. I think it was compiled by George Eaton. So he said it was put together according to 2 criteria: ability to influence policy and ability to change minds. These are the top 10. Rachel Reeves, 1. Keir Starmer is number 2. Morgan McSweeney is number 3. So he's sort of Keir Starmer's campaigns director, also masterminded his leadership bid. Martin Lewis, number 4. Gary Lineker, then Wes Streeting. Sue Gray, who did the Partygate report and is now in line to be Starmer's chief of staff. Angela Rayner, Christina McAnay, and Torsten Bell is from the Resolution Foundation. Christina McAnay is the General Secretary of Unison. Aaron, none of those people, from our wing of the left, really. What power does our wing of the left have now?
What power do any of these people have, Michael? You know, Rachel Reeves is the most powerful person, influential person on the left in this country. I think there's some wisdom to that, her rather than Keir Starmer, because she actually has a vague idea of what she'd like to do with power, whereas Keir Starmer does not. And you might think, well, what does she want to do with power? She basically wants to do what the Conservatives are doing, but probably spend an extra £20 billion a year on decarbonising the economy. I mean, that is a laudable thing. I mean, the rest of it isn't, but at least she has a plan. I don't think Keir Starmer does. What influence does the left have? I think people like Ash and myself are in there because maybe cultural. And I think what will be interesting, Michael, is after 2024, if there is a Labour government, the media will be very happy to elevate people from their left criticising Labour. The media will be very happy to have Michael Walker going on the BBC or ITV and Sky criticising Labour because they're failing to address the housing crisis, because it makes for good TV. Right now, they're not that keen because it's not great TV, right? The story is the Tories are collapsing. What they love is Tories going on the TV to attack the Tories. Or when there was Corbyn, great TV. Civil war in the Labour Party. The Labour Party, endless civil war. When will it end? You don't want it to end because it's great for TV and for radio and for clicks on your stupid little websites. So I think the worry is, it's part of the reason why I think there was pushback through these Labour MPs, is that clearly Novara Media is a moderately successful organisation, thanks to our amazing viewers, listeners, subscribers, and readers. It is clearly something which has survived the Corbyn era and is growing and is strong, and it kind of works. And we're finding a bigger audience all the time. And I think for people on the Labour right who have no ideas, who don't even believe in politics, they believe in status. This is a status game for them. They are still quite concerned, I think, about the spectre of a socialist left, which may have access to the public at large. They don't like Owen Jones. They don't like Ash Sarkar. They don't like Novara Media because, you know, we're still there and there's still the embryo, potentially in 5-10 years, of a successful left populist project, which can reach out to plumbers, NHS workers, office workers, grads, non-grads, old, young, because we're trying to drive an agenda on class politics, the housing crisis, cost of living. We have something to say to multiple audiences rather than what you get with the Labour right, which is, we're the Tories, but we're 5 points to the left of the Tories. 5 points, if that. In government, that's not really going to function. In opposition, it clearly is, by the way, because the polling shows they're doing pretty damn well as long as the Tories collapse, which they are. They've happily obliged in that regard. So I can understand why they are angry and upset, to an extent, as pathetic as it is, about the inclusion of people like Ash and myself, because they want the left to disappear. And like you say, Michael, even if we don't have massive influence right now, it's clearly diminished from 2019, right, where there was a national conversation around things like public ownership in a way that has simply disappeared because Labour is no longer advocating those things. I think even the possibility of that returning is too much for people on the Labour right.